everybody. Welcome back to Bleepin and Bloopin. I know it's been a while since I've done a long form video. Mostly just been doing shorts here and there. But I wanted to do a quick, maybe it won't be that quick, demonstration of my mobile setup that I've been working on lately. Just kind of getting everything organized and streamlined so that I can take the rack out and not be sitting at my desk all the time. A lot of times I'll just go sit out on the front porch in the middle of the day when it's really nice out. Ideally, I want to, take it to a park, that sort of thing. Maybe get some inspiration from outside and stuff like that. So this video, I'm just going to go over that, how I do that. And so obviously the first thing, most important part, got my main case here. 104 HP, contains all my main modules, so all my utilities, my two main voices that I use, some audio manipulation stuff, VCAs, that sort of thing. Probably the most important part for this is my Befaco AC-DC, which is a DC coupled audio interface. So when I'm sitting at my desk, I'll often connect that to my laptop so that I can route in and out of VCV rack, so I can use utilities from there that I don't have in physical rack, or different effects, or maybe even if there's a voice from VCV rack that I want to use. But in the mobile setup, I don't really want to carry my laptop, so I have set up on my iPad here, which is this really banged up iPad Mini 2 that's, I don't know, probably 10 years old. I don't really know how old it is, but it's probably close to 10 years old. And, it's seen better days, but it does run the important software that I need. And that's this that you can see on screen here. It's called Audiobus. And so basically you can set it up to take an input, which when you have the AC-DC connected, I can select the inputs from the AC-DC. I'll do that here. And so AC-DC AL 1 and 2. And then you can select the outputs the same way. And then in the middle, you have effects. And so basically any app that's on the iPad that can serve as a AUV3 or other type of DSP type application, there's like a lot of apps that are compatible with Audiobus. You can plop in the middle there and basically set up effect streams. You could do whole other instruments if you wanted. Right now what I have an example of is I have my rack, which is the iPad copy of VCV rack. I have that up and running right now, so you can go here and you can see I have a nice little virtual rack. I set up Plateau, which is really popular VCV rack reverb. So I set that up, so we'll be using Plateau, end of chain, just for a very simple setup, but you can add delays, you can add all kinds of things. I could even connect my other two channels in and out if I wanted to send a specific, not just use it for end of chain. In addition to my rack, you can also connect into any AUV3 compatible iOS app. So in this case, I have this package from Eventide that includes a bunch of their reverbs. So most commonly I use Black Hole, which is this really, really huge reverb, pretty comparable to Valhalla Supermassive. And then I also use the Shimmer Verb a lot, much like Valhalla Shimmer. And so if I add one of those in, you can see, well, it'll just keep adding new channels and mixing, but more importantly, I wanted to show you the interface so you get the whole plugin right here, kind of like if you were in your normal DAW on your laptop or something. But here it's processing in real time, ins and outs, all routed through Audiobus. And so I'm gonna turn that off for right now. So that's kind of my rack, my effects from the iPad. How do we power it all? Well, I have this battery bank, just picked it up off Amazon, pretty cheap, 65 watts, 4,000 milliamp hours. It'll run this rack for a long, long time. It'll power every module I have, even the ones in my auxiliary rails in the desk. And you just have to get this USB-C to barrel connector. This doesn't come with the battery pack. You have to get that also. Picked it up off Amazon. And this thing is great. I have used it to charge my iPad, charge my laptop. I can run the rack, charge the iPad all at the same time. It's really amazing. And then of course, we've got various cables. Over here I've got some stackables, just because I don't want to take up too much space with mults, and sometimes the two here is not enough, and so I use the stackables just for passive mults. I also have this little bag of tricks here, and so inside here I have a few like 0 HP things. So these are Mystic circuits, some logic gates, low pass gate, attenuator, that sort of thing. I don't use the logic gates that much these days because I have the Instro EOS, which contains in-rack logic. I also have this OR gate. I have a little starfish mult, and then I have these little guys from Tidbit Audio. This is a random signal generator. You just plug it into any sort of voltage source. It'll start sparkling and give you some cool random CD out. This is a 0 HP attenuator. I have a couple of those here. And then I have this little VCA, which I think is actually a low pass gate, but does VCA services. I have a few more of those on the way actually. I recently saw they released like a little mixer, a mixer with attenuators, and a couple other things, but those haven't arrived yet. So yeah, those are kind of the important tools. Obviously, my Sony headphones for listening, so I can hear the stuff that I'm making. And yeah, so that's the basic setup. That's all the stuff that I use. Maybe we'll go through and make a quick patch just to demonstrate what I might do out in the wild. And you know, to make it simple, I'm just going to use flats here. Let's put it in probably the most meme sound, the one that's kind of like rings. Then I'm going to take this LFO. We'll use that as my clock. I like to run the clock into a mult just in case I want to use it for something. So we'll clock our Turing machine. So we'll start getting some random voltages and some random gates. So rather than have a note on every single clock beat, I like to use the Morcom expander into the trigger of Platts, and that just gets us a nice, you know, not just ding, 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 ding. We get some actual variation in the timing. You can also use Euclid for that, but this is the most straightforward way. So we'll take the CV out from Allen and run it into my quantizer, and then we'll I'm going to take that quantized voltage, I'm going to run that into my other mult because I might want to spin that into, you know, different voice. I do that a lot. So yeah, so there's that. We've got some quantized CV coming in. We've got some triggers. So we've got our flats, and I'll run that over to, we'll run that over here. Oh wait, that was a mistake. Volts per octave. Now we'll run this out over here. If I turn this up, we should start to hear. Yep. Pretty typical Platt sounds, kind of the rings-ish mode that we're pretty accustomed to. And yeah, so there's that. Pretty neat. And let's go ahead and add in the shimmer verb. There you go. You can hear that big eventide shimmer. Really, I usually just leave the presets alone. I mean, don't have CV in or anything, so I just kind of roll with what's going on in the presets. Maybe we can pick a different one. I like to pick one of the long ones. I really like, I think it's Quasar. Let's see. Gives us some really nice outer spacey sounds. If we wanted to, we can do some. We can even add them together. So I can add in Mirac. I think I'm gonna want the order to be the other way though. Okay, so let's start back over. We'll add that shimmer back in. Come back over here. Just leave that where it's at. And I'm gonna use Mirac to add some delay. Let's just use this guy. Okay, so we've got Eventide on top of that. So there we go, nice little effect. Maybe we want to add another voice. Let's see. I'll take my chaos here. Actually, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna do some filter modulation on this other voice. So we'll just start with that. And we'll just plug this in here. Up. I'm gonna take this slow random from Oct. I'm gonna run that into Mia just in case we need to do some adjustment on it, and then we'll bring that back over to CV in. Should start to hear some really nice modulation. Maybe I'll bring up the resonance a little. And hey, look, there you go. We have a nice little drone in the background. We got ring sounds, some delay, and a big ambient reverb. We're not even plugged into the wall. So yeah, I guess let me know what you think. If you've got your own mobile setup, anything you see you think I can improve. I'm always looking to continue to optimize even more. And yeah, so I'll just leave you with a little bit more of this drone. I might do some tweaking without talking and just let it go.